Who's ready to go next? Toastmaster. Oh, I see the English doctor is here. Toastmaster Craig. Toastmaster Craig. While we wait for Toastmaster Craig to come on, can we have Toastmaster Lara and Toastmaster Muhammad Ikrima get ready, start warming up. Toastmaster Lara. So many shy people.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Okay, this is Toastmaster NCJ. Bemi.
Hi.
All right, okay. So I'm an audit consultant by profession. I work with one of these people. So I'm looking forward to learning. I'm actually new to this kind of settings, really. Most like, but I'm very enthusiastic to learn new things. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster INCJ. Toastmaster will be
recording in progress.
Let's meet you. He's off. All right. Toastmaster Farouk, Toastmaster Ikrama Muhammad, Toastmaster Jube, Toastmaster Nena. All right, Nena said she's in a noisy place.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Can you hear me?
Absolutely. All right. So Toastmaster Jube, you go, and then Toastmaster Muhammad, we go after you. You have black time, yeah. You first.
My name is Jubair Jamal. Okay, I'm Toastmaster Jubair. Mentoring is new to me, so I'm looking forward to having a great time learning. I'm with Lighthouse Prestige Toastmasters Club.
Awesome. You're welcome, Toastmaster Juby. Okay, so Toastmaster Nena says she's in a noisy place, but she's done her introduction. And read that out. Total Toastmasters.
Okay. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Madam Didi, good evening.
Good evening, Toastmaster Muhammad.
My name is Toastmaster Muhammad Ikrama. I am the immediate past Vice President Education for Commercial Help Toastmasters and the current president of the same club. I am a school teacher and an entrepreneur. I'm here to learn. So let's see.
Awesome. We're all going to be learning. And for those of us who've been in the mentoring game, on learning and relearning, because learning never ends. Toastmaster Kubi, I can see you looking at me. Let's meet here.
Good evening, Didi.
Good evening.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. My name is Kubi Uyanga. I am a member of Ikeja, of Toastmasters Club Ikeja. I am a mentee to people, and there are some people who are mentees to me. And I understand that to keep it dynamic and progressive, we must always refresh our knowledge and learn new things. So that's why I am here, to learn with every other person. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Kubi. Toastmaster Abubakar, I know you're on the call, waiting for your introduction. Toastmaster Malik Ba, waiting for your introduction. Toastmaster Sahib.
Madam Didi, how did you know I was here hiding?
I always know.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
My name is Abubakar Kimba. I am the wait, what am I saying? I'm the VP of Lighthouse Prestige, and I'm the PQD2 of the Division F, District 94. Like Toastmaster Kubi here, I am a mentee to a lot of mentors. I have about 7 mentors. And I am a mentor to about 2 or 3 people. So at the end of today, I expect to learn more about mentorship, learn more. I have 7 mentors, so I would like to have 7 mentees as well. I just want to like to keep the balance. So I would like to learn about how mentors get to actually impart that knowledge the way that I've been imparted by mine. So I look forward to an amazing session today.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bubaka. All right, so who's ready for introduction again? Toastmaster Sahi.
Okay, good evening. Good evening, all. Thanks for the opportunity given to us to learn about mentorship within TM International. My name is Said Issa, a member of Surulere Toastmasters Club. And by way of introduction, I'm a bit relatively new to Toastmasters Club, less than a year. But I have been able to learn a lot within the short period I've been around. And this will be my first mentoring program. And I'm looking forward to learn new ideas about what mentorship really means. So I'm all ears and I'm ready to learn. So thank you, madam.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sahid, and welcome. Toastmaster Farouk, Toastmaster Dara, Toastmaster Nwobi, Toastmaster Ibrahim Fatayimbo. I saw you sneaking. It's introduction time, so please feel free to let us meet you. Toastmaster Abdullahi, welcome back and happy sneaking in and out. It's introduction time. Who's ready to go?
Hi. Good afternoon. My name is Toastmaster Malik. I am currently the treasurer for Seaside Toastmasters Club. This is my first time in a mentoring program, so I'm optimistic that I'll learn a lot today. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Malik. Super interesting to have you here. Toastmaster Farouk, ready for your introduction? You
Yes.
are.
All right. Good evening, everybody. My name is Toastmaster Farouk Aminovici, all the way from Kano. I was a former member of Kano Toastmasters Club. I served as the Vice President Education as of then, like 2 to 3 years ago. Now I'm Hub Toastmasters Club. I'm here for the mentorship program because I believe that you as a leader or as a good speaker or whoever you are not as successful in line until you is another that can as you do. That's mentorship. And without good mentorship, you can't get people to like what you do, and you can't put them through to become who they are. And we need to produce people that are leaders, that are good communicators, and that will happen through effective mentorship. And that's why I'm here to see what it's all about and add to my pool of knowledge. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Toastmaster Farouk. You almost that could serve as an opening remark for this mentorship class. But your response was apt, and I completely agree with you. Toastmaster Dara.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is, Dara, and I'm a member of Lighthouse Prestige. I've been a member of Toastmasters for maybe about 15 years. I can't even remember. But like all things that you start off early, you get complacent. And somewhere along the line, I discounted the role of mentors and mentees. And I was very, very happy to be invited to this session or this mentorship training because I knew the benefits my mentor played in my life when I was on my Toastmaster journey or earlier on in my Toastmaster journey. So I'm looking forward to learning a lot and getting back into the training and also being a better mentor and being a better mentee. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Toastmaster Dara, for that. The importance of a mentor cannot be overemphasized. I completely agree with you. So thank you, everyone, and special thanks for joining in early. This definitely shows that we have the right crop of members to train as mentors for, but you didn't tell me. All right, so it's about 1 minute to 4, or it's 4 o'clock. So I think it's time for me to sign off and give control to the SAAs so that we can start up our masterclass. Toastmaster Abubakar. You have control.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Chidi. Good evening. Which one is, when is evening? Is it before 4 or after 4? I don't.
It's anywhere in between.
You decide.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. Fellow Toastmasters. I don't expect there will be a guest here. Fellow mentees, fellow mentors. As usual, we shall start with the Toastmasters promise before anything else. Usually, I would like to. Perfect. Thank you so much, PQD. Usually I will start, but please stay muted, but follow me as I go along. I will know if you are not. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. As a member of Toastmasters International at my club, I promise to attend club meetings regularly, to prepare all of my projects to the best of my ability, basing them on the Toastmasters education program, to prepare for and fulfill meeting assignments, to provide fellow members with helpful constructive evaluations, to help the club maintain the positive, friendly environment necessary for all members to learn and grow, to serve my club as an officer when called upon to do so, to treat my fellow club members and our guests with respect and courtesy, to bring the guests to club meetings so they can see the benefits Toastmasters membership offers, to adhere to the guidelines and rules for all Toastmasters education and recognition programs, to act within Toastmasters' core values of integrity, respect, service, and excellence during the conduct of all Toastmasters activities. Please let us give ourselves a round of applause. This is not an easy promise. We all made that promise, and I expect us to see it through. Welcome to the Mentorship Masterclass training. Today is day 1. We expect to conclude tomorrow. It's a 2-day masterclass. And without any further ado, I would like to call on the Toastmaster of the day. Apologies.
Yes, I'm the one, sir.
Okay, Mr. Toastmaster Ibrahim.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thank you, Toastmaster Abubakar. Thank you so much. It's a privilege to be the Toastmaster of today's mentorship program. Once again, you're all welcome to first of its kind in this division where they are going to be organizing a very concise mentorship program for selected members of Toastmasters across different clubs. And I'm very sure that we are going to be learning a whole lot of things. Let me put it this way. I'm sure we are going to learn, relearn, and unlearn a whole lot of things. Mentorship is one of the important things and one of the challenge that we are facing in our society today, lack of mentorship. And I'm very sure at the end of today's mentorship program, because it's a 2-day program, so today's program promises to be very interesting and titillating. I just want us to be attentive and let's note all our questions so that we have few minutes that we need to engage our facilitator. Without much ado, I will like to introduce somebody who is very articulate and innovative. Ever since I've been a member of Toastmasters for more than 8 years now, when it comes to division, I think this is one of the vibrant person that we've had as our division director. Ladies and gentlemen, Toastmasters, with a virtual applaud, it's my pleasure to introduce the division director to give our opening. I don't want to do much introduction. I think as the event unfolds, I'll say other things about that, but I salute our innovation with our team, and this is a very wonderful. Please, a virtual applaud for distinguished Toastmaster Chidi Chukwudi Madu. Please, virtual clap for her. Please, you're welcome, ma. Please kindly give us your opening speech.
Thank you most graciously, Toastmaster Ibrahim, Toastmaster of the day. I should mention that Toastmaster Ibrahim Fatoyimbo is the brain behind the planning of this mentorship masterclass. He's a project lead, and he certainly has a lot in stock for you. So please just sit back and go on this journey with us. I want to appreciate every member who is here on this call for making out time and for volunteering to serve as a mentor. The truth is, the role of a mentor is one that we cannot take for granted. There's an African proverb that says that if you know where you are going, you're in luck. If you know how to get there, you're in better luck. But your greatest luck is when you know someone who has gone on that journey and is willing to take you on the journey. And that's what a mentor does. A mentor is someone who sees the hope and the light in you, even when you don't see it. Winston Churchill, the former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, had said that we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. And mentors are people who give. So you give your time, you give your attention, you give your resources, you provide emotional, moral, psychological support to somebody else. And sometimes you get little or no appreciation for the work you put in. But the fact that you're impacting somebody's life is just about the rewards that you can get. And I'm super happy that we have this crop of Toastmasters who've signed up to be mentors. After this 2-day, I can assure you that even if you've been in the mentorship game for a long time, there's an opportunity for you to learn and unlearn, relearn everything you think you know about mentorship. And we have a fine school of facilitators. So thank you for being here. I expect that we'll have opened up our hearts to actually learn. Or anything you think you know about mentorship, just discard it at this point and be ready to take in everything our facilitators would teach us today. So on behalf of Division F, thank you for your continued support. Thank you for volunteering, and thank you for assenting to serve in the capacity of a mentor. And thank you to Toastmaster Ibrahim Fatoyimbo for putting this together. Mr. Project Lead, Toastmaster of the Day, the virtual lecture is all yours.
Thank you so much, our distinguished division director. Well, like I said, you can't use one hand to clap. So all these things that we are doing today is a teamwork and it's a collective responsibility. And I also appreciate the division director for giving me the privilege to chair this wonderful program. Without much ado, we have to get down to the nitty-gritty, and I would like to introduce someone who I respect so much. And like what the division director said, is just let's disregard whatever is within us when it comes to mentorship and come and fill that cup again with knowledge, because at Toastmasters, we have varieties for you. Well, without much ado, the first facilitator will be discussing on a very important topic, mentorship, a correct dose for success. Mentorship, a correct dose for success. And the person who is going to be doing us the honor of facilitating this session is no other person than distinguished Toastmaster Kayode Yusuf. He's a passionate Toastmaster, a cybercrime security expert, and technology salesman. Kayode has served as club president for Lighthouse Toastmasters and Inlax Toastmasters Club. He has served as Area 18 Director, two-time District 94 Finance Manager, past District 94 Logistic Manager, past Division F Director, among others. He has attained the highly coveted Distinguished Toastmasters Type 2, and Kayode loves adventurers, traveling, and meeting new people. I think I will add this about the facilitator. He loves to learn. I met him in Lax Toastmasters that year, I think at his workplace then, and the way he welcomed us when we came for the demo meeting then, he's somebody who submits himself to learn, and I'm sure he's going to be sharing from his arsenal of knowledge and from what he has learned from his mentors. Please, with a virtual round of applause, let's welcome distinguished Toastmaster Kayode Yusuf.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Ibrahim Fatoyinbo. It's an absolute honor for me to be here this morning. Today I'll be speaking about mentorship, actual doors to success. And I'll be linking this to how the mentorship program can actually help revitalize our clubs, not just our clubs, but also our membership engagement. Because I want this to be an art-to-art talk, I'm not going to be using any presentation. So I'll pretty much talk from my notes, and also would be very open to answering questions from the audience. So I'm going to be basing this talk on 5 subtopics. The first is why mentorship is very important. And I'm going to relate this pretty much to my journey in Toastmasters. I think one of the things I've done very well in the whole of my life is my Toastmasters journey. I've achieved several successes in different spheres of my life, but I think that the one that trumps it all up is my Toastmasters journey. And when I look back, I try to understand what were the things that I did right, or what were the things that my club, I started my journey with my club. And when I started my journey, I was not interested in the area, division, district, or whatever it was. So I tried to look back to say, what did my club do well? What did the members of my club do well? What did the executives, what did they do well? What were those things that I saw or that I went through that actually made me turn out into who I am today? So the first thing I'll be talking about is why I think mentorship is important. The next I'll talk about is who should be a mentor. And the reason why it is important is because serving as a vice president education in Lighthouse Toastmasters, sometimes you want to assign someone as a mentor and they think that they are not qualified or ready to be a mentor. So who should be a mentor? And then how do you get to mentor to create impact? I think there's a distraction somewhere. Can the host please watch out and please mute? Thank you. And then I'm going to talk about the benefits of mentorship. And I believe somewhat that there's going to be a sort of a sharp thorn when I talk about the benefits of mentorship and then the impact of mentorship. Quite similar to the benefit of mentorship, but for impact, I'll be talking much more about the impact to Toastmasters as a whole. For the benefit of mentorship, I'll be talking about the benefits to the mentor and the mentee. And then for impact, I'll be talking about benefits to Toastmasters as a whole. So, starting up, why is mentorship important? When I joined Toastmasters, if you had listened to me talk about my story of Toastmasters, I actually came to Toastmasters pretty much by mistake. I had a friend, a very good friend, who we both were interested in our personal development. He was older and he had started off professionally. So I was 7 at that time. And we usually would read books. We discussed the books that we had read. And I think he had read about Toastmasters somewhere. So he told me, oh, there's this place where you can go to improve your public speaking skills. But I think that by the name Toastmasters, you can also go there to toast women. I heard they have a lot of very beautiful women, and I think we should check it out. And so that Saturday, we got into our clothes and marched down to Mark's house in VI with the hope of public speaking and also toasting women. But that was actually the first time in the whole of my life that I was going to see people start to finish speak perfectly well. When I say perfectly well, I don't mean like they were the best speakers, they were the Miles Morrow of the time. No, but I saw myself in them. I wished I could speak as well as these people were speaking. And so that was the only time I came as a member. But I've noticed something about me that usually I learn better when I get engaged, right, compared to when I'm just left at the side. And I think that one of the things that set me aside in Toastmasters was the mentor that was given to me. So first is that I had a background in IT. My mentor equally had a background in IT. So it was easy for us to relate in things outside of Toastmasters. More importantly, he was someone that had the kind of temperament that I had. So we're both calm people, we're both knowledge seekers. I think he seeks for knowledge much more than I do. He's a southpaw, so he understands how his brain works. He loves to discover things. I love adventure. So we had a whole lot to talk about. But most importantly was the fact that he was able to inspire me to a lot of action. So the first time I came, I got impressed. The second time I came, I paid for my membership. The third time I came, I served as timekeeper. Before I served as timekeeper, of course, my mentor was the one who encouraged me, you need to play a role. And this is sort of the easiest role for you to play. You just need to note down the time and tell people at the end of the day. So we did that. And before I knew what was happening, in about a month plus, I had already served as Toastmaster. So I think that engagement process really did a lot to help me. And it did not actually make me scared of that perfect environment that Toastmasters is supposed to be. And that takes me to the next point. People actually fear us as Toastmasters. How many of you have been to a wedding where the MC did not come up and they say, oh, you are supposed to be a Toastmaster. Go mount the podium and serve as MC for us today. It had happened to me. I came for a friend's wedding. I was not even supposed to come for the wedding because I wasn't informed of the wedding. I was in town. I just came into town and then the guy needed to use, I had a van and he wanted to use the van to carry his, the bridal train. So he came to my house and said, okay, please, you need to give me this van to use. I said, well, I can give you the van, but I have to drive it because I don't trust whoever you're going to give it to. That was how I came to the wedding. So I wasn't invited to the wedding. I was just supposed to be at the wedding. And then we got to the wedding, everything was set. People had started eating, the MC had not showed up. He was stuck in traffic. So for like the first 1 hour, that responsibility was thrust on me. I wasn't prepared. I wasn't even coming to eat rice in that wedding. I just came to protect my car. And then I ended up becoming the MC of the wedding. Giving such a responsibility to me because it believes I'm a Toastmaster tells you how much of a responsibility you have as a Toastmaster. What that means is that outside of the Toastmasters cycle, people are scared of Toastmasters. When you go somewhere and introduce yourself as a Toastmaster, people are careful the way they speak around you. They know these are the people that are perfect in public speaking. They watch out for pause fillers. They watch out for grammar. Every time they speak, they have word of the day. That is how people regard Toastmasters. Now, think about a guest coming to your Toastmasters meeting. How many of them are comfortable opening up and speaking within the club meeting? Very few of them. Now, think about a new member that has come into the meeting. What that new member believes is that this place is a place that can actually improve me. But the fact is that that new member is coming from the place of a guest or an outsider who sees Toastmasters as those people that are beyond mortal. They are immortal, and God has imbibed these public speaking skills into them. And they can do it perfectly, but I can't. So naturally, those new members, we want to shy away from playing roles. They want to shy away from speaking. And these people need somebody who is going to be friendly, to lead them, to guide them, and to ensure that they are able to go through the system. Why is mentorship important? The Toastmasters education program as a whole is complicated. Now, I think pathways are supposed to come make it less complicated. It's somewhat still complicated. Any new member will feel uncomfortable going through the education program because they will not understand it. It's very easy to misunderstand it. It's very easy to shy away from it. So a mentor, it should be that person who is able to take you through the process to say, you need to do these projects now. Okay, you're doing innovative planning project 1, and out of that project 1, you're able to do a number of electives. Looking at you and knowing what you can do, this may be the elective that will be best for you to do.
This way start, yeah?
Yeah.
You don't need to go further, yeah?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Amy. So a mentor should be that person who is able to guide the new member. Those are the reasons why mentorship are important. So we go on to who should be a mentor. Like I mentioned earlier on, in my experience as a vice president of education, I've seen people who I have assigned mentorship roles to, and usually they feel that they are not up to the task, which I do not blame them. The Toastmaster system itself is rigorous. And having to serve as someone, everyone comes to Toastmasters to get knowledge, to improve themselves. And like we say, learning never ends. So you keep learning and improving yourself. So you're still in that cycle of trying to improve yourself. And now you're being invited to improve someone else. That can be very challenging. So who should be a mentor? My first requirement for mentorship is someone who is willing to learn. And I know this is quite odd because the mentor is supposed to help a mentee learn. But I assure you that in the system of mentorship, the mentor learns a lot more than the mentee. I hope I would have time to explain that later. But in the system of mentorship, the mentor learns much more than the mentee. Who should be a mentor? Someone who has been a member for at least 6 months. In that 6 months, we'd expect that you've done a couple of speeches, you've played roles a couple of times, you have an idea of what the membership entails, you have an idea of how your club functions. And with that, you have enough things to train a new member on. According to Toastmasters International, a mentor should have completed the mentorship training. However, I'm happy that this is happening. This is the first time that we're having a targeted mentorship training. Maybe it happens in the clubs. I know a couple of VPs would organize something like this for their mentors. I know we used to do that in Lighthouse, but I don't think it's something that we do corporately as a division or even across the clubs in the division. So it's important that a mentor has completed the mentorship training program. It's also important that a mentor has expertise in the area with which the protege wants to grow. We all joined Toastmasters for several reasons, different reasons. And it's quite important that the mentor has some sort of knowledge to pass across to the mentee. It doesn't mean that the mentor has to be the best, but the mentor has to be someone that the mentee is able to look up to. And I remember really well that I had listened to Toastmaster Ibrahim Fatoyinbo speak about his mentorship program and how he gets to mentor people that are way older than him, way more professional than he is in other spheres of life. So what has made those people come to him is because in the sphere of public speaking, he is able to pass some value to them. It's important that the mentor is able to pass value to the mentee. And then we quickly go on to how do you get to mentor people? So there are two ways to mentor. The first way is the official way. That's where the VP Education actually assigns a mentor to the mentee. Another way to mentor could also be an unofficial way. I have had people reach out to me privately to say, well, I think I like this speaking skill of yours and I would love to learn it. Will you be able to mentor me? And if I have the time, I usually would say yes. So it could be official or unofficial. And when I say this, I mean in the Toastmasters cycle. One of the best ways to mentor is to start by building friendship. See, mentorship is not, I know I mentioned it as official and unofficial, but it's not supposed to be an official, prim and proper engagement. It's actually supposed to be you finding a soulmate in that part you want to improve. So what it means is that it needs to be somebody who you are able to tell that I have these problems. Some of those problems you're not able to tell the leaders in the club. Sometimes the leaders in the club are quite far away from the members. They don't have the time because the club would usually have a lot of problems that they're facing that the members need to pay attention, that the leaders need to pay attention to. Issues like club quality, the DCP goals, membership renewal. And that's the reason why sometimes the only time your club president will call you is when it's time for renewal. And maybe he has about 30 other people to call. And sometimes he's not going to just call you once and then the payment will be made. Maybe it's going to call you 3 times. So that means that if he's calling 30 people 3 times, that's 90 calls that he needs to make. So the point is, for the club officials, they usually would have a lot on their hands. And I don't know about now, but when I joined Toastmasters, the club officers were so high up that it was actually difficult. I remember one of the first discussions I had with my club president then, Dr. D. Ayo. And it was like I was listening to maybe the governor of Lagos speak. That was how I saw it. So it's possible that members are not going to be very comfortable opening up with the club executives because they see them as high up and they are not that close to them. So the mentor should be that person that the mentee is able to open up to say, I have these problems, that they can actually even discuss personal problems with. So you start mentorship by actually building friendship. When you are assigned a mentee, it doesn't have to be prim and proper. Of course, it may have to be prim and proper. But people like DTM, Chima Ezeife, for those of us that know him, he would actually ask you to write what your objectives are and how long you want to take to achieve those objectives. He's going to tell you to draw up a timetable and you must meet up with the timetable. You have to maybe meet every week and select somewhere to meet, maybe at his office or something. But it doesn't have to be that way. I think that it's best that you build a cordial relationship with your mentee. That way, it's going to be very easy for you to link up with the person. It's going to be easy for you to communicate with the person. And it's also going to be easy for the person to raise issues when issues happen. How do you mentor? Again, I did mention earlier on that some people are careful because they feel that they are not professional enough. They have not improved themselves enough. However, a mentor does not need to know all the answers. You simply need to know a little bit much more in that sphere that you want to mentor the person you're mentoring. And a lot of the times, the person you're mentoring will be someone who has joined after you had joined. So there would be a lot for that person to learn from you, even if the person is a professional speaker. I have seen a lot of people who joined Toastmasters and they had been well-renowned speakers outside of Toastmasters, but there's always something to learn within the Toastmasters cycle. In Lighthouse Toastmasters back then, one of our members had just come from the UK. She worked with the BBC and she pretty much had very good command of the English language. But even despite joining Toastmasters, she saw that she had a lot more to learn. Things like she was speaking too fast, how to actually understand whether you're engaging your audience or not. People are not the same. So she could be speaking that way in the UK and people understand her. But coming back to Nigeria and speaking that way, nobody understood her. And then that defeats the essence of communication. she got to understand this via mentorship, not even via speaking at the club, because when she speaks at the club, everybody is wowed by her accent and everything, and she usually would be the best speaker. But then when she got involved with, fortunately, the mentor was myself. With me, I had to tell her that you speak to communicate. You don't speak to I won't call it show off your accent, because that was who she was naturally. But I thought that she needed to adapt to the Nigerian cycle so that people can actually understand what she was saying. I think she took that evaluation to heart, because she came back to give me feedback that she started seeing difference in the way people actually interacted with her. So now it was easy for her to hold conversations. Unlike in the past, when she was actually speaking with people, people were just saying yes, yes, yes. They didn't understand what she was saying, but they were just saying yes, yes, yes. So it looked like they actually understood what she was saying. So you don't need to know the right answers to become a mentor. You simply need to have a little bit more experience, a little bit more knowledge in that item you're coaching the person on for you to be a perfect mentor. Also, a mentor needs to be able to ask the right questions. What does this mean? Some questions can be out of place, right? So, as a mentor, it may be challenging for the mentee himself to ask you questions. So you want to be able to ask questions that can actually make that mentee open up to tell you what challenges it is that they're facing. What are the things that they're looking forward to in their Toastmasters journey? And then you're looking at how you are able to help them achieve those things that they want to achieve. Again, mentorship, one of the things that we have to try to avoid is what I would call over-mentoring. Over-mentoring in the sense that as a mentor, you want to show that you are the alpha and omega and you're the beginning and the end. That usually would not work. As a mentor, you want to be a friend to your mentee and not an authority to your mentee. Because when you become an authority, then you're not different from the president or the VP education who had assigned that role to you. And what that will do is that it will make you far away from your mentee. So the mentee would, of course, know that you are the mentor, would reach out to you when they need help, but they would not be comfortable around you. So see this as, and I don't know if this happened to you, but for me, one of the things that happens to me is that I think I learn better after I've passed the stage, and I'll explain what it means to you. When I was in high school, I was a brilliant student, but I would still say I was an average student. So I wasn't the perfect student. I struggled to make the good grades that I had. But the moment I finished a class and I moved to the next class, that class where I struggled so much to understand what was being taught, I struggled so much to recollect what was being taught, I just would know all the things that I struggled with in the past year. Such that if I was teaching someone in the past year, it was way easier than when I was teaching my classmates in that year. So one of the things that I realized was that the teachers that I had in the past year were people that I was so scared of. So all the things I was doing was just to impress them and not necessarily because I needed to learn. But when I passed that level and I didn't see those teachers as an obstacle any longer, it was easier for me to learn and be friends with them. And I think that this also aside, it also is like this over mentoring item. It's important that you become friends with your mentor and not over mentor them and become an authority to them, ordering them around and discomforting them. That's quite important. You should be a place of refuge for your mentor, for your mentee, and not somebody that they're scared of. And the last point I have on this point is that mentoring is also not managing, right? So just a few days ago, I was listening to one of the pastors in Lagos talk about parenting, and I think it applies so much to this point. So he was talking about parenting and how parents these days want to do everything for their kids, right? So your kid has gone out to play. Matter of fact, he said these days kids don't even go out to play. They are just usually indoors, under close monitoring, If a kid has a bicycle, you can't ride the bicycle out in public. It has to be on the balcony where it can't go down. And when they get injured, the parent is looking at the injury and like, oh, like he described it like that injury was going to kill the child. It's an injury. We've all had injuries. The child would have more injuries. So it's not the end of the world. And I think the same thing applies to mentorship. Let's not overmanage our mentees. Let them live their life. What we should simply be should be someone, a friend that when they have problems, they can fall on. When they are confused, they can come meet you for directions. And you would always be there on the sidelines to encourage them and to guide them to the right path. So these are pretty much important points that we need to be able to focus on. What are the... I see a question about Dr. D.A. Ayo. I actually do not know his full names, but we call him Dr. D.A. Ayo. He was the president of Lighthouse Toastmasters. He is a medical doctor, but I think he does much more of business consulting these days. And I think he's currently a member of Business School Netherlands. So Business School Netherlands Toastmasters Club. I think he's also, whether he's student or a faculty there, I'm not sure. But if this person is the person in Business School Netherlands, then yes, he's the one. Pretty short guy with the glasses. Right, so as I round up, what are the benefits of mentorship? The first benefit is that you're helping somebody achieve their life goals. Sometimes you know this, sometimes you do not know this. But you're actually helping someone improve their personal development goals. Goals that would transcend their personal life and would move on to their business, their professional life. And that's one of the best things about Toastmasters. In Toastmasters, a lot of the times we come to the clubs, back in the days when we were doing competent communication and competent leadership, in competent leadership, you had to learn listening skills. And I'm using that because it was emphasized, but now in pathways, all of these skills are subtly still in the program. But in competent leadership, you had 10 goals. There's listening skills. Then you have to play the role of listening evaluator. You have to play the role of speech evaluator, the role of grammarian. And one of the things that we sometimes do not realize is that these skills that we learn within the Toastmasters cycles actually is useful for us even outside of the Toastmasters environment. So you being an awesome mentor to a mentee means that you're also preparing them for the life outside of Toastmasters. And remember, I did mention that the person that could actually be your mentee may actually be your senior in the professional environment. So imagine you being able to impact somebody who is professionally your senior in the professional environment. That is something that you cannot measure. My mentee, my mentor, for instance, Michael Olafusi, is someone that he has stopped being a Toastmaster for about the past 6 years. But despite this, I still follow his progress because I am very happy with the impact he had done to me, that I feel like I owe him something. And so it's very important that you understand this important benefits, that you're not just helping the club achieve its goals, you're actually helping somebody achieve their life goals. And this is very, very important. What are the benefits of mentors? Mentorship. A mentor shares what they have learned, their shortcuts, their insights, and ultimately, you're helping somebody live a better life. What does this mean? When people join Toastmasters, it can be very cumbersome. People can be very confused on what to do and how to do it. However, having a mentor would sort of make that process for them easier. There are a lot of things that you know, that you think it's just simple, it's just ordinary, that actually people do not know. So this mentorship program can actually be a conduit for you to pass what you know over to the people that do not know it. So a mentor shares what they have learned to their mentees. What are the benefits of mentorship? Mentors provide members with help and advice, tips on preparing speeches, on role responsibilities, on role playing. And again, these are things that, because we're used to them, we just see them as regular and normal. However, for people that are new members or people that have not played such role, it can actually be very challenging. But thankfully, mentorship can help us. Mentorship can help us in this aspect. What are the benefits of mentorship? Mentorship encourages proteges to grow into leaders. As a mentor, you get to mentor people, sometimes for a short while, sometimes for a long while. However, when you have mentored someone to a certain stage, it's usually time for that person to also begin to mentor other people. And what we would have seen is that somehow the impact of your mentorship has rolled on upon them, because sometimes they can just take the mentorship style that you have to begin to mentor these new people. What are the benefits of mentorship? One of the most favorites that I like is that mentorship actually builds relationship outside of Toastmasters. One of the benefits of Toastmasters for me is the fact that Toastmasters provide a veritable network for me, especially in business. At the time when membership dues was increased, I actually passed that cost across to my cost of doing business, because I saw how important being a Toastmaster was to me for my business. So having a mentor simply means that now you have a friend that you can actually communicate with and hopefully begin to build relationships out of Toastmasters with. I have seen a live example in my club, Lighthouse Toastmasters, where one of our members got married to his mentee, and today they are husband and wife with 3 bouncing boys. Those are some of the relationships that mentorship can bring up. Of course, not necessarily marriage relationships all the time, but like I mentioned earlier, business relationship, you can begin to build quality friendship due to mentorship. Final benefits of mentorship. Remember, I did mention earlier that in a mentorship journey, the mentor actually learns a lot, much more than the mentee. Why is that so? I'll tell you. When you learn, you usually learn based on your capability, based on the things surrounding you. But the experiences you have will be different from the experiences someone else would have had. And so when you have a mentee, it may be usual that the mentee would ask you questions that you have never thought about. Sometimes, like I mentioned earlier, you would not even have answers to those questions. And so you may have to tell the mentee to say, I'm going to get back to you to give you an answer to this question. That is an opportunity for you to learn something that you had never thought of before. Something that if you are not being involved in that mentorship relationship, you would have not been able to even think about it. And that gives you the opportunity to learn much more than the mentee would learn. I remember when I was serving as a trainer, I remember that I did a training once for a consultancy firm called Tom Associates. Yeah, they were training some multinational, and in my class, there was this guy who had the same kind of knowledge that I had about the topic I was teaching, and it was willing to show off to say, "Oh, I know what you're teaching, and I'm able to ask you tough questions." Matter of fact, he asked me a question that I did not know, but because of the power of the trainer that I had, I told him, "Yes, this question you have asked is a very important question. However, I'm not going to answer it now because we have plans to take this question later on. So I'm just going to wait till the right time." When in actual fact, I did not even know the question he was asking me. So what I did was to go back home, to go study that question very well and include it into the curriculum so that we can actually take it. So because he was able to ask me that question, I was able to learn something new. And that would usually happen in the mentorship program. Of course, it doesn't have to be that you tell the mentee that, "Oh, this thing, we're going to treat it later." You can open up to them to say, "Yes, I don't know this, but I can find out." I mean, that's something I have learned. Now, I don't have to tell the person that we will take it later. It's okay to not know everything. But what's not okay is for you not to make efforts to know, right? So if there's a question that the mentee has asked or something that the mentee wants that you don't have the capability for, you can easily go out to go learn that stuff, come back to train them, which would mean that you have also learned something, not because you think you need it, but because someone else needs it. And now that skill has become yours. So I believe that in a mentor-mentee relationship, the mentor has a whole lot more to learn because you already have the experience that the mentee does not have. And then you are also able to capitalize on the knowledge and ignorance of the mentee to learn new things yourself. So the mentor gets to learn much more than the mentee. And I'm going to round up with this. What is the impact of mentorship on Toastmasters? In Toastmasters, when they draw the organogram, it's usually a triangle. And at the top, you have the members. That's said because the members are the most important part of Toastmasters. What does this mean? Without the members, there would not be Toastmasters. So I currently serve as a district officer, and it's a position that has a lot of respect to it. But the fact is that all of the respect is just like political office. All of the respect that we have and all of the reference that we get is because we're leading members. If the members are not there, then everything is stripped off. So the members are the most important part of the Toastmasters system. Now, if the members are not getting the best of Toastmasters, let's take a club, for instance. If a club is not giving its members the best in terms of the club quality is not top-notch, there's no conviviality in the meetings, it's not friendly, you would see such club begin to lose members. I mean, Merit Toastmasters, for instance, is one of our most respectable clubs. They have elderly people, well-respected people. But guess what? Despite how elderly some of their members are, they are very friendly. Very, very friendly. You go to that club, you feel welcome. What this means is that our members are very important to us. So we need to design strategies to, one, make them get value for the money that they're paying as membership dues. Yes, the money is small compared to what they would pay if they go out to train in the public. But no matter how small the money is, we must make them get value for what they have paid for. So mentorship helps members get that value. Because as a mentor, you are the VP education for the member, you're the VP membership for the member, because when the member does not come to the meeting, before the VP membership calls, or before the membership committee calls, you as the mentor should even know the reason why that member is not coming to the meeting. If, for instance, what we used to do in Lighthouse was that if you wanted to give a speech, you needed to first give that speech to your mentor, and your mentor needs to have certified that that speech was good to go. What that means is that that mentor is playing the role of the VP education, because the mentor would have listened to the speech, accessed the speech, and given feedback on that speech. So that mentor is also playing the role of the speech evaluator. That mentor is also playing the role of the speech writer, because sometimes people will send speeches to you. You will write the speech and send back to them, or you give them input on how they can make the speech better. So pretty much the mentor is all of the club officers all put into one for the member. So what this means is that when somebody who has gone through quality mentorship comes out to give a speech, you must see it in the speech. At the time I was talking about, excuse me, Lighthouse Toastmasters had what I would call perfect speeches, like speeches that people would listen to and sometimes burst into tears. Speeches that people would listen to and would stand up, and the audience would stand up and just begin to give the speaker a round of applause. People would listen to speeches. Like, I had listened to so much speeches in Lighthouse Toastmasters that I got inspired. People who had gone through thick and thin to make a success of their life. So when people come to give such speeches, what it tells you is that behind the doors, they have done a lot of work to craft whatever it was that they came to prepare. And a lot of this work will actually be based on the quality of mentorship that that person had received. The mentorship may not come from an official mentor, like I mentioned earlier. It can actually come with preparation from the VP education or preparation from whosoever it is. However, giving quality speeches, seeing people participate in speech contests actually is an impact of mentorship. And I think that as a whole, mentorship can make our Toastmasters journey very easy, very sweet, and most importantly, very impactful. I'll stop at this point and I would stand by and hope that I see that I had 8 minutes to go, and I hope that in that 8 minutes, we're able to ask questions and I'm able to answer those questions. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Kayode Yusuf, for that wonderful rendition of that topic, mentorship, the right dose for success. And I'm always enjoying the way you use your own story to deliver your speeches. Like I tell people, it's very interesting to always tell stories because most audience appreciate stories. So without much ado, please, if you have any question for him, kindly signify and let's listen to your question within few minutes before the next session, please. If you have any question, if you don't want to talk, you can write it. But as a Toastmaster, you should talk. So let's see, signify if you have questions for distinguished Toastmaster Kayode Yusuf. Any question? Okay, Toastmaster Abubakar Gimba, please go ahead. Please ask a question.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Ibrahim. Distinguished Toastmaster Kayode, thank you so much for that wonderful, well-presented speech or rather training. My question is this: what happens if the mentor assigned to me is not someone I like? To put it straight, what if that mentor assigned to me is not someone whom I would like to be like? What do I do?
Thank you very much for that question. And in my experience, I've seen that happen. There is no perfect answer to that. I think that, again, I did mention earlier on that the mentor should be someone that's a friend and not authoritative. But I think that the process of assigning mentorship is an authoritative one. So the VP education assesses a member and assigns a mentor to that member. I don't think a mentee should reject a mentor because there is something to learn from all of us. I could learn something good from you. I could learn something good from you. I could also learn something bad from you. So I don't think a mentee should reject a mentor. What I think a mentee should do should be, if you are assigned to me as a mentor and you're not my ideal mentor, I can reach out to the person who I think is my ideal mentor and ask the person to mentor me on the side. You don't have to have one mentor, you can have more than one mentor. So that's what I think should be ideal. But in a case where it's begins to cause rancor, because I actually had the experience where I assigned someone to someone and the both of them were lawyers, and the mentor was a junior lawyer to the mentee, and that caused a lot of trouble between them. Like, it caused all the trouble you can think of in the world, that we needed to start coming to solve problems between the both of them. And I think one of them had to leave the club for the other one. Right? So in that case, before it gets that bad, which was one of the mistakes that I made, you need to step in and split them. But if it's still cordial, you can work with a mentor. There's always something to learn from everybody. Yes, I see Toastmaster Lumide Ajibade.
Kayode Yusuf. This
Yes,
is my
sir.
question. Firstly, is there a limit to the number of mentee a mentor can manage? Secondly, for someone that has a very busy schedule, and the mentee also have a very busy schedule. How can someone manage time when you have a whole lot of workload? How do you juggle between all those things and still manage the mentee very well?
Thank you very much, Mr. Ajibade. 2 questions you have there. The first is, how many mentees can a mentor handle? I think it will be based on your capacity. Remember, this is volunteering. People are not paying for it. Outside of Toastmasters, you could call it coaching, and sometimes you actually would pay to get coached. So you need to do based on your capacity. If you're someone that has a schedule, you want to get as few mentees as possible, because it's important that you make impact. It's not important that you have 100 mentees and then all 100 mentees, there's no impact on them all. So you want to have as few as possible, as much as possible, that you're able to make impact on. How do you manage time? I had the opportunity of mentoring somebody who is first a foreigner who works in Nigeria and is actually the CEO of like an insurance firm. So he is busy, I am busy. But what we did was to actually decide that maybe every week we'd meet for an hour. At that time, we used to meet physically, generally, but for this person, because of his schedule, we thought to meet virtually. So we had started doing these virtual things about 4 or 5 years ago. And then we just put in a date in our calendars that every week we meet on this day at this time. And that was what we did. It didn't matter whether it was going to be very frequent. It's going to be based on the time slots that the both of you are able to manage. So it could be an hour in 2 weeks. The most important thing is that you want to create impact and not necessarily having you meet all the time and then there's no impact. What that also means is that mentee also needs to be someone that's willing to learn. Because again, it defeats the purpose if you both meet severally, but then there is no change, the person does not improve, or you yourselves do not improve, because again, like I mentioned, as a mentor, you are also learning. So based on your schedule, you pick whatever it is that works with you. It could be once in a month. It could be once in a quarter. What works with you? But the time that you spend together, whether physically or remotely, you want to ensure that you get the very best out of it. That way, the person will remember you for good whenever the person remembers things like mentorship. I'll move on to TM Muslimat. TM Muslimat. Please go ahead, TM Muslimat.
Okay.
I think that the network is bad. Let's move on to TM Kubi, and we hope that TM Muslimat will come back. TM Kubi, please. I see that you're unmuted already.
Thank you, Tim, for sharing insights with the my question is this: in a situation where a Toastmaster has responsibilities, the congregation of responsibility, personally, and then Toastmasters and other mentees that eventually have said to the house, and just mentor either through appointment by the VP, or sometimes the mentee walks up to the mentor. Maybe they see something in the mentor that they want and requests to be mentored. So if someone walks up to someone who is already at his capacity or her capacity and requests to be mentored, how would you suggest the person handles that?
Yeah, thank you very much, Tim Kubi. What I'll suggest would be to respectfully turn the person down. And a lot of the times we learn even just by interacting. So what I would tell such a person is that, I'm sorry, I cannot accommodate you at this point, but we can meet up once in a while when you have the time and I have the time, and we can talk over all of these things that we want to talk about. But what I would do if I do not have the capacity, and I am usually invested in my mentees. So when I have someone as a mentee, I make it as a point of duty to reach out to them, to check on them, to know about what they do, how they're faring in whatever it is that they're doing. And all of these also take time, because I also have my own issues. I also want someone to reach out to me to check how I'm doing and how my business is doing and all of those. So if I am not able to take up a new mentee, I would respectfully turn the person down and still offer to give whatever it is that they want outside of the mentorship program. So if, for instance, we can meet for lunch on a certain day and maybe we'll talk over all of these, or maybe meet somewhere if you want to give a presentation and you want me to peruse it, I'm happy to do that if I have the time and you have the time. But then I know I'm not committed to doing it. So I know that for such an engagement, I can cancel at any time. I'm the kind of person that if I have an engagement, I would usually go through the odds to ensure that I am there. I wouldn't want to give excuses. If I give excuses, it's because I don't have a choice. But when you are not officially my mentee, it's going to be easy for me to say, oh, I'm sorry, I won't be able to make it for our meeting this afternoon. Please, let's meet some other time. And then I won't feel guilty because I know that I don't have that commitment in that relationship. So that's what I'm going to do if it happens to me. TM Muslimat, are you able to?
Yes, I'm back now. Sorry.
Awesome.
I guess
awesome.
it was network. Thank you,
DTM. And good to see you again.
Thank you. Same here. I was going to ask you, mentoring relationship is meant to be reciprocal. It's a two-way thing. So as having put in energy, created time to serve and mentor someone, and you have this mentee that is not willing, you ask that meeting should be at a particular time, the person does not turn up, you give assignment, you don't get it within the time frame. How do you cope, considering the fact that you are pressed for time too? Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I assure you, all of us mentors on this call, we go through this. It's going to happen. The first thing I would ask you to do is to be empathetic. We were on a call earlier on with the division director, and after the meeting, we're just throwing banters, and I think someone was yabbing her, and then she said, oh, I started doing this thing where I just reach out to division leaders to talk to them outside of Toastmasters, and I got a better understanding of what they're actually going through in their personal lives. Point I want to make is that some of us will be going through a whole lot. So it's possible that at that time, that person is going through a lot of things, maybe emotional issues, marital issues, your kids are sick, financial issues, professional issues. Some of these things can actually weigh you down. I'll give you an instance. The last job I did before I started up business on my own, I had a boss who would call you up and just start insulting you, right? If I were with you and my boss calls me up and starts insulting me, I mean, that guy turned me into who I wasn't. I got to the stage where I needed to start insulting him back. Now, if you were my mentor and that happened, it would paint me in a different light to you, that this guy is a disrespectful guy. Look at the way he's talking to his boss. But you needed to get close to me to understand what was happening behind the scenes. So what I'm going to recommend is that at that stage, you want to be empathetic, to first understand what that person is going through. If it's now the case of somebody who is just not serious, and not the case of maybe the person lives in Ikorodu, and then the person works 9 to 5, and then you live in Aja, and then you guys have a meeting for 7 p.m. in Aja. Most often than not, that person cannot make it from Ikorodu to Aja in 2 hours. Especially if the person does not have a car, and then there's no more go-karda. The person may not make it. So if the person comes late, of course, it's not good that the person came late. But we want to be empathetic to the fact that the person needs to be a miracle worker to get to Aja at 7 p.m. going through Ikorodu Road. So that's empathy. But if it's somebody who is just naturally not serious, maybe they are not interested, the mentorship program was foisted on them by the VP Education, then you want to excuse yourself from such a program. So if you are assigned officially, you want to reach out to the VP Education to say, I'm sorry, this person has not shown commitment, they have not shown that they're interested, and then they pretty much this is a waste of my time and their time. And also maybe they feel money that you used to buy fuel into your car. So it's better that we call this off and please assign someone else to me. So it's going to be two ways. The first thing I would ask you to do is to please be empathetic to that mentee. Try to understand why they are going through these problems. If it's something that you can actually solve, try solve it. So, for instance, some people who are family people would say, oh, after 8 p.m., I don't take calls from outside. So if you are able to break such rules for somebody who you know, maybe they're very busy and it's at that 8 p.m. that they have the time. Of course, I'm not saying you should, but if you're able to, that's empathy. If you're able to, instead of asking the person to come meet you in fear, you know the person lives in Ikorodu, you meet the person halfway in the Ikeja so that it's easy for you both to have access to each other. That's empathy. That can actually create a new difference in the relationship that you have. But if it's just somebody who would naturally just be unserious, it's best not to waste your time, not to waste your resources. There are a lot more people that actually need that time and resources, and you want to reassign such to them or even to your personal business because you are not being paid for this. That would be my answer.
Thank you.
Any other question before I hand over back to Toastmaster Ibrahim Fatoyimbo?
I think there is no other question now. Or do we still have any question? Well, if you have any other question, you can try to drop it in the chat. I'm sure that distinguished Toastmaster Kaude Yusuf can just pick it up from there. So now, once again, we really appreciate your session, distinguished Toastmaster Kaude Yusuf. It has been a very wonderful one. I'm sure, likewise with every other person, I've learned a whole lot of things, sharing your experience. Like I mentioned, that one of the things about presentation is when you tell stories, and story sells, fact tells. Indeed, I've learned a whole lot of things from you, and I'm sure that we'll always reach out to you to tap from your arsenal of knowledge. Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Kaude Yusuf. Well, without much ado,
thank you very much for the opportunity.
You're most welcome. Without much ado, we'll like to move to the next session. And as it is now, the next facilitator, which is distinguished Toastmaster Adeosun, is here to respond. I think he's not available for now. So I'm going to be standing in for him as the facilitator for this session. And the topic that we are going to be discussing in this session is mentor-mentee relationship. Mentor-mentee relationship. I think I'm going to be taking some clue from what distinguished Toastmaster Kaude Yusuf has, but I would like to like this. Mentor-mentee relationship. That word relationship is what I would like us to quickly just look at. I like to divide that word into two. Relationship. Relation means communication. When you relate with someone, when you have dialogue with someone that you are relating, that's why they say, okay, can you relate with what I've said? And that means, are you communicating? Am I connecting to what this person is saying? Do I really understand what this person is saying? So when you look at mentee and mentor relationship, mentor-mentee relationship, we're talking about this relationship. Relationship is about communication. So when you talk about this mentor relationship, we're talking about how well does a mentor communicate with his or her mentee. And the ship there, a ship, yes, that word ship, S-H-I-P. We have a big ship that sails, right? For every ship that you see on the sea, there's a destination for it, right? So I say that Relationship is that when you have communication with a mentee as a mentor, you have it at the back of your mind that this communication has a destination. That is to say that the mentee also has a goal that, okay, at the end of this mentorship, I should be able to deliver the speeches, and I should be able to achieve my educational Toastmasters educational goals. So what I'm trying to say in essence now is that relationship, that word relationship there is talking about relating with your mentee. And this relationship or relating with your mentee has a destination. That's setting a goal. And now let's talk about the mentor. Who is a mentor? A mentor is someone, let's just say a mentor is somebody who guides. And when you look at the Toastmasters context of a mentor, like what distinguished Toastmaster used to mention in his presentation, is that such person must have successfully completed some leadership roles in the club. But it is beyond that when it comes to mentorship. You've asked some questions about what happened when we have a stubborn mentee and everything. I'm going to be sharing my experience regarding that. Moving forward, as a mentor, there are certain things that you need to put in place. Let me start about my own journey. My own first mentor was distinguished Toastmaster Abi Ibrahim, a very smart young chap. But yes, everything is a very young guy. I am a very young guy then when we started Toastmasters around 2013, 2014. But I submitted myself to him to learn. He was there before me. So I started learning. He's going to tell me, okay, you have to go about this. You have to do it this way. I listen. I go to his house. I just want to learn. At that point, I don't have to complain because I have a reason for joining Toastmaster. I saw people deliver speeches and I was so flabbergasted, like, wow, look at this. So my goal and vision was to be better. So I don't care anywhere any mentor tells me to come. If I'm going to be available, I'll say I'll be there. I make myself available. But interestingly, I didn't just wait to say he's going to be my only mentor. I have distinguished Toastmaster Patrick Olidetu as one of my mentors. The most interesting thing about Patrick is he's always busy. So how do we work together? He just tell me, Brian, come into my car. We'll sit down. Okay, definitely there's going to be traffic. This is Lagos, and we start talking. Okay, this is how you have to go about this thing. And when I get to my destination, it's okay, I think we're able to do something today. And I get down and we move. And from there, we can just communicate. All right. So one thing you need to understand is that if you look at the process in which you've been selected to be a mentor, you must have gone through certain things. Yes, not everybody can just say they want to be a mentor because it's a very tedious work. Because you need to understand and you know that, oh, can I really do this thing? It's another thing to be able to deliver wonderful speeches. It's another thing to mentor, right? So when you understand yourself better as with me, like, let me just conclude that. So I haven't said that the process, I started learning, delivering speeches. I went to Mary Toastmasters. I can tell you, if you really want to get evaluation, like he mentioned that there are old people there, they scrutinize. I met with Hurricane D, one of the distinguished Toastmasters there. I said, man, I love the way you deliver speech. Can you just be my mentor? I won't let the other mentor know. I will just reach out just to learn their style. So I tap from her to I tap for another person and I combine everything together. Because you are a mentee doesn't mean that you should stay put to just only one mentor. You need to tap across board. That's why you don't just have to stay in your club and attend meeting only your club. You can go. And that one thing really helps me because when I go to other people's club, I learn some of the act of speaking and dexterity when it comes to public speaking. So I tap from them, I move to them. And so even if I have a speech that is very close. Okay, for example, when we are talking about the project 1 to 10, when I'm about to deliver maybe body language project 5 then, and I've seen someone who also delivered similar speech, I'll just accost the person, okay, please, can you help me peruse my speech? I'll send it to my mentor too. They will check it. I'll send it to this person. How well do you think I can present this thing? I'll forward it to them. And it has been very, very interesting. And all this experience, meeting different type of mentors and learning under their tutelage prepared me to be a fantastic mentor. It's not like I enjoyed myself. I'm going to tell you, because at the Ikeja Toastmasters, when I was given the privilege to be a mentor, I was the only person that we always mentor people who are older than me, like my mother, like my father. And guess what? They will definitely submit. They will submit. So now let's now go into the relationship. How was I able to say, okay, I want to build relationship? Remember, Patrick would never say, okay, sometimes he's always busy. But I didn't condemn him that I need to understand. That's where all this emotional intelligence sets in. You don't believe that, like you said, it's voluntary. Somebody is mentoring you, it is free. If it's outside Toastmasters, you can say, okay, he's a coach, you have to pay for that time. But if someone says, okay, I won't be available, can we just do it this way? If it's convenient for that mentor at that particular time, I need to submit myself to learn, because I have something. Because before I can choose you as a mentor, I have seen something distinct about you, and I feel like, oh, I should be able to learn something wonderful from this person, right? So moving forward, all those things formed me and shaped me. So when they come to me, they will introduce themselves, I regard them, oh, you're welcome. And the first thing I do as a mentor is to tell them that, okay, what do they want from Toastmasters and how do they intend to achieve their goal? They will do proper introduction to me. Okay, I joined Toastmaster because I want to improve my communication skill. I'm always having issue when I speak. I'm having this. They relate everything to me. And I'll say, are you willing to learn? They respond, oh, yes, definitely I am. Okay, I will now outline my own rules. See, the first thing is this. I like the fact that when we have a deal, you have to keep it. These are the rules, because they said that any country that there is no law, if you misbehave, if you do anything, it is not illegal, right? So I will just speak to them that, okay, this is the way I operate. Will you be comfortable with me? Can we work this way? This is what I do. And one thing about me is that when we're working like the 10 speeches, I make sure we have some mentee that just feel like they just deliver speeches. I compel all my mentee to always write their speeches. I tell them that every speech you deliver in Toastmaster is a chapter of a book, if you pay attention to it. For example, your icebreaker, I can tell that should be your chapter 1 in your book that you intend writing. Your other speech, how the body language, visual, getting comfortable visually, and a whole lot of things. So I make sure that they write it, and I'll tell them that you have to write and you send it to me. When I edit, I forward it to you back, and we work like that. And one thing about this thing is that, you see, no one is perfect. An elderly person says, yeah, I'm sorry. Those ones, I'm very sorry. I won't be able to respond. I'll just leave them. So another thing I did was to do what? I opened a WhatsApp group for all my mentees. And I will always celebrate the best one. And that's one of those traditions that we need to keep in Toastmasters. Before anybody deliver any speeches, let's call the names of their mentors. Oh, Toastmaster Kayode Yusuf is mentored by Toastmaster Ibrahim Fatoyimbo. So when you had them together and you try to understand that, see, this person's success is my own success too. Do you understand? It's going to create more relationship that you just have to work with synergy, right? So moving forward, sometimes as a mentor, there are certain things too you just have to do to build this relationship. I show concern about my mentee. What's happening? Will you be able to? I don't condemn them because they are unable to deliver a speech. You need to understand with someone, right? Okay, you won't be able to do this, but you know that if you are not going to be able to do this, do we have a deal that you can go to another club to deliver this speech? Some of them that day for your own club might not be convenient for them, but some people just see mentorship as if they are God, that you just have to listen to me for anything I say, you have to obey me. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't have to work that way. No, I don't have any mentor that treated me like that. It's voluntary. I submit myself. And sometimes the disposition of a mentee is one of those things that is going to help maybe, okay, is going to help the mentor to also, oh, let me give this person my time. When you show the willingness to learn, I don't run after mentee like, oh, come on. No, some of them you will see them. When you see anyone that is showing interest, you follow them up. We have time that, okay, we need to have meeting, all the mentee, where are you? Where have you stopped? And we communicate. Don't forget, We are talking about mentor-mentee relationship. And I'm trying to emphasize more on how a mentee, do you understand, can really, really establish a relationship with a mentor. Like we said here, a lot of people feel like, oh, he has to do this for me. You know, Nigerians, we have this entitlement mentality that you feel like, oh, because he has to do this. No, it doesn't have to be like that. And at Toastmasters, you don't necessarily step you to only one mentor in your club that, oh, and they have given me this mentor, I can't leave. If you feel like this person don't have your time, you can just ask another person. I've seen some people that they'll just tell, it's just like supervising all this PhD. If you are going for sabbatical, you hand it over for any professor that's going to be available, all right? So if you're not comfortable with it, you can say, oh, please, can you just be my mentor? And you move from there. So building this relationship is that I check up on them. How is work going? Because don't forget, the first time we met, they already told me this is what they do, and I have a diary for them. That's okay, what you do. And sometimes I just randomly pick up my phone and just say, hello, how you doing? How is work? Oh, I'm just checking up on you. And they're happy because mentorship should be intentional. It should be intentional because we just see a lot of people. Because one thing about me that I appreciate is that I feel like if my mentee is not doing well, I'm not doing well. I feel like, what is it that we didn't do well? Which area should we improve? And that's why what the people don't understand is that when one person mentors, two lives are changing. When, you know, one person is mentoring, but two lives will be changed. Definitely. You can do everything, you can do anything, you can't do everything. Like distinguished Toastmaster Kayode said, no matter what, you will definitely learn from your mentee. One of my big mentee was, she's an educationist. I didn't know. So one day she now said, oh, sir, I don't know, will you be available? I said, I won't be available, but I'm going to around so place. And I said, oh, and my office is around there. I think if you finish, is it possible that we can just meet or anything? I said, sure, where can we meet? Fortunately, she owns a school. So I went to the school. I said, oh, wow, wonderful school you got here. I said, thank you, sir. Very humble woman. Oh, thank you, sir. I should sit down. Okay, I said, oh, you have a wonderful school. So what are you doing? I didn't go straight to say, how far your speech? I was asking what inspired her to own the school. And she started talking and telling me that, oh, Ibrahim, see, this is the reason I want to be a speaker because, you know, owning a school, I'm going to be given different platforms to come and speak. And how will you feel when a proprietor cannot really articulate correctly? That's why she joined Toastmasters. I said, oh, that's good, but she should not worry that everything is just left to her, that she should be willing to learn and adhere to my rules. And from there, I said, okay, what's their curriculum? And she started telling me, and I told her that, okay, have you thought of what you can do differently in this area that will bring people to your school? He said, I've been thinking, I've commissioned people, consultant and everything. I started sharing ideas that, okay, can you introduce anything like communication in your school? Because this is a Montessori school. Is it possible that you can start training them on public speaking and everything? I can tell you for free that when I introduced that, she said, how is she going to go about it? I came up with a plan for her that this is how you introduce it. And today they have incorporated that, what I introduced to her, and that is one of our unique selling points. I'm pleased to tell this gathering that she made me one of our school board of trustees. She's my mentee, far older than me. As I speak, she's yet to even complete the 10 speeches before she, but I won't castigate her for that. She has personal issues to attend to because she still works with Lagos State government. All right. So I try as much as possible. Even as what she did not deliver that, we are not say, oh, you are not serious. Just go. Just no. So we still have the relationship. Interestingly, the school is just about maybe 200 naira away from my house. That's where my daughter attends. Discounted rate. A mentor-mentee relationship. Do you know how much I'll just be paying? The school resumption now, some parents here, they are having an attack like, hey, they are buying this. Yes. But today, through my own mentee, I have had that privilege to have a discounted school fees for my daughter. Mentor-mentee relationship. A mentor, you are not God. If I've acted like God, maybe this discount won't be there. She'll just say, just bring your daughter and they'll bill me, you know. So, and like I mentioned, she's yet to even complete it, but we have this relationship. And I advise her. But people just feel like it's only speech we have to talk about. We need to go personal. Let's talk if they are willing to. So another mentee that I have, she is a bank branch manager. And She joined Toastmasters because one day she wanted to present in front of the board. They did fantastically well that week. I think it's a month or a week. And they just invited her to come and deliver a speech to say, oh, how were they able to meet the target? And she started shivering and she was crying. Somebody in the audience now called her aside and said, please don't get it twisted. I said, a branch manager. A branch, yes. What you are thinking, a branch manager. She was fidgeting. I happened to be her mentor. She told me our deal. I said, don't worry, everything will work out well. We started this journey. Very submissive. Each time she wants to go to the board or anything, she will put a call through. She will tell me at night that, Mr. Ibrahim, please, I'm having presentation tomorrow. Look at it. That speech is not for Toastmaster. She's going to the board. But what I was thinking there is because that, okay, if she's having a peace of mind, no matter what, as the president, then, they need to do renewal. We need more people. A lot of people, they just feel like they are your mentor because your action or inaction can push people away from Toastmasters, which is going to affect your membership. So I have the love of Toastmasters at that. No, I don't want to lose. I think when we keep them, they can be able to refer. So when she wants to deliver any speech, I make sure that she delivers speeches from her area of strength. A mentee don't send you a topic and you say that, no, don't deliver this. No, all I have done, the one that is in educational line, I make sure that she delivers speeches relating to children, education, to find a comfort zone, because that's where she's going to be speaking from. The one in the banking, I make sure she delivers speeches across customer relations, marketing, and other things. So I always make sure to understand that what is their area of strength? What do they like doing? We have seen some mentors that they will edit everything about their mentee speech. And when you do such thing, you see, they won't be able to articulate. That's where they cram, they forget their lines, the pillars will set in, and all sorts of things happen. Like I was saying, this woman will always call me, Mr. Ibrahim, I want to go and face the board. How should I go about it? And I'll tell her that, okay, just be calm, make sure you have water and maintain eye contact, smile. Smile is a universal language. Anyway, you get to, even they are not smiling at you. When you smile, they won't know when they will just smile back at you. And from there, you can just start. Right? And she said, thank you. And after the speech, she would just call me and say, oh, Mr. Ibrahim, thank you so much. And everything. I'll just ask, okay, that's fantastic. That's why you have to come back to club so that you practice more. Toastmaster will give you platform for you to keep speaking. The most interesting about Toastmasters is that you have a platform to always talk and talk. Do you understand? It's not, you can't learn public speaking within just 2 days. So that's why you have to come say, that's true, sir. That's true. I'll make sure I attend the next meeting. But will you be willing to deliver any speech? You say, I'm not sure. But what did you discuss with the board? It's just about our marketing. Can you come up with any speech like that? Maybe you forward it to me. Let me see. And from there, she delivered the speeches. I have another person. He works with Sahara Oil, or this oil company group. He works with them. He stays around MKO Abiola Garden. I stay around Ikeja. So he's always busy. He did first renewal. He did deliver one speech. You will call him again, he will renew, and he will not deliver a speech. What's happening? So I just put a call through. He said, Mr. Ibrahim, I'm sorry. It has been a very hectic. I said, so how can we work this out? He said, I said, where do you stay? I said, can you come around? I said, let me know if somewhere I can just, maybe weekend that we're not having any meeting, I can just come around my leisure time. Let's see what we can do. I said, okay. And I went to his house. And from there, we talked. It's nice. I met the wife. I said, thank you. This. They offer you food. They offer you everything. That's not why you are there. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty. I started engaging him that you understand that you've made payment for the first time. This. And he said, okay. I said, can we just try to... So how has your experience been so far? He said, yes, I went to Port Harcourt and it was a crazy experience. I was able to see children. I said, can you come out with a speech from what you said? He said, speech. I said, yes, just from experience. You're just talking about your Port Harcourt experience, what you encountered. Can't you come out with a speech? And I said, okay, that's true. Help them grow from their area of strength. When he heard that, he said, sure, because it's something that is fresh in his mind. is able to connect. He just said, don't worry, I'll send it via to. He forwarded to me and he came. And another thing about this one is he stammers. He stammers. So it's a whole lot of work that I have to make sure that when he wants to talk, he just puts hands free just to listen to something and just be talking. And I make sure that, when people stammer, they tend to rush, they want to talk. And that's why I enjoy Toastmasters so much. As a mentor too, you need to make use of the CRC, comment, recommend, and comment. You don't deliver a speech at Toastmasters, they just tell you that, what you have said is nonsense. How can you deliver this speech like this? How can you do this like that? No, you commend them that even though for you having courage to come outside, that's awesome. Which areas will you like to work on? You will try to itemize it. And one thing I'd like us to understand too, when it comes to mentorship and when your mentee wants to deliver a speech, most times, for example, we see someone who wants to deliver icebreaker and you're expecting that first timer to be using body language, use eye contact, use this one, use that one. Most mentees don't follow the objective of a speech. Toastmasters is a very structured organization. Before you deliver any speech, you will read the objective of the speech to the audience so that the audience will be guided, so that they will be the judge too, to say that, oh, you delivered a speech in tandem with the objective of this speech. An icebreaker will come and you will start giving them evaluation that no, you did not make use of eye contact, you did not make use of the stage, you were just standing mute, you were just doing this. Mentors are meant to save mentees from tormentors. You are not meant to be their tormentors. Mentors are meant to do what? To save mentees from tormentors. As a mentor, you should not be their tormentor. All right? So now, you need to, these are the things, but you will see some people, they will start pushing the mentee. No. At that time, you have to do this. That's why we say icebreaker. Getting comfortable, familiarizing yourself with the club officials, the audience there. And from there, you can now start picking it up. Because the first evaluation you give somebody that is joining Toastmaster for the first time, who is scared to speak, and you now give them a very strong evaluation, they will run. They will run. So please, let's understand that thing. So as a mentor too, you are not God. I've mentioned that. Try as much as possible to follow them up. I have a WhatsApp group. I send messages to them. Sometimes I can invite somebody to come and just, okay, today I'm going to invite somebody to talk to us about this topic. And fine, they come, they deliver, and they appreciate it. So I have a group for my own mentees. They are still there. So I have another mentee who is an engineer doing well. He's going to be shaking like this, like a jellyfish, like when he's delivering a speech. Like he's when it comes. And another thing as a mentor, you should be guided that even when somebody joins Toastmasters for the first time, at least let them attend meeting like twice. If it's possible, let them play a role. Let them play a role. You don't just join Toastmaster and immediately you give them, come and deliver your icebreaker because you want to meet up with your educational goal. No. At least let them be a timekeeper. That's the easiest one. So they familiarize themselves, they feel like what distinguished Toastmaster Kaude Yusuf said. That's the thing. You just have to try. It's not the first time he started saying he wants to deliver, but that is what we can see in most clubs today. Somebody joined because they have allotted you as a mentor. Please send in your speech. Let me see your icebreaker. This is the thing. No, encourage them to play a role. That's why we say a mentor guides. You direct them. You orchestrate their ways. So as a mentor, it's very important you pay attention to all these facts. Let's now talk about the mentee. Mentee, you have roles to play too. You have a role to play because Yoruba they said that a child that stretches his arm or hands is the one that has showed that, oh, you are daddy or mommy, you are welcome. And that is when the parent will be able to carry them. What do I mean? When you are coming from an outing and your child stretch his or her hand like, oh, mommy, 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 or daddy, 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 that shows that that child is willing and showing that zeal or willingness for you to carry him or her. But a child that you are coming and the child does fold his or her hand like this, you'll be looking, what happened to you? You are not even willing to carry them, right? So it's very important as a mentee that you have a clear objective of joining Toastmaster. You have to adhere to rules. Even if your mentor did not outline his rules or our rules, ask. So what are the things you feel like you don't feel comfortable with, and how are we going to be meeting? Toastmasters, mentorship is not for life. It's not for life. At some point, when you feel like, okay, you've started gathering your confidence, you can just tell them, okay, what do you feel about this? Let me deliver this speech and this is it. Do you understand? So that is what will be helping. We need to work together. Like I said, you can't use one hand to clap. You can't use one hand to clap. It's two hands that you can use. That shows that you have to work together. You have to work together. The willingness of the mentee is important. You can't force a mentee who is not willing. It is not magic. No, it's not. But the ones that are willing, you need to give them the time, show concern, guide them. Don't rush them. Give them that pace to grow. Relationship is very important. Today, most of my mentees, some of them, they are no longer coming to Toastmasters. Some of them maybe a few times. But today, we are good. It is beyond. That's why at Toastmasters, they will always leave 5 minutes for networking. For you to meet people, you never can tell. Some people can be your mentee and they'll just keep quiet. They won't expose, they won't disclose who they are. I've met someone who owns a group of schools, aside the first woman. He just came in, he just sat down, and his PA was sitting somewhere else. And he humbled himself. So you never can tell. When if you are even bigger or older than the person, it's very important, like what distinguished Toastmaster Cowdy used to say, you have something to learn. I have a training that they gave me the opportunity, and I can't turn that training down. I had to call one of my mentees, who is the engineer that I mentioned, that, oh, this safety training. So what are the things on your construction? What are the things that I should be able to? He was the one admonishing me, guiding me to tell me, okay, this. Mentors are not God. You can also learn from them. So keeping this relationship, sometimes if you have functions, you can invite them. Oh, most times, okay, I invite them for salad. Come and eat meat. Come around, just to have relationship. Oh, thank you. I enjoyed myself. And from there, do you know the most interesting thing? When my mentee come to my own house for salad celebration, they deliver speeches. And we use that platform even to sell to people. And we are going to have timer. Yes. When they come after the merriment or anything, we just get the mic and just say, okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you've not heard about Toastmasters International, Toastmasters is a leadership and publish, and we talk about it and we say one of our members is going to be delivering it, and we are going to count that speech, and there's going to be an evaluator. So people will be wowed. So it's beyond just eating ram and just going. So you can have a Christmas celebration and just say, okay, let me just have a gathering. My mentee should just come and deliver a speech. Fine. So you just have to be creative and dynamic about this thing. How, okay, do you think we can just do this? So it's not like everything you just have to be Steve. Where are you? You have to do this thing. You have to, no, it's not like that. You don't have to be an authoritarian mentor. No, you have to take it easy. Yes, people will be asking questions, and we have stubborn one, leave them. Mentorship is not by force, it's by choice. He chose you, you chose this person. If it's not working, it's just like this marriage. Go your separate ways. Go your separate ways. So if you're not comfortable with my rules, you move to another person. I have never for once sat in Patrick Holidays' office. It is inside his car. After he goes Toastmasters, up into his car, sir, I have a speech, I have this thing. Okay, I have this presentation. This company called me and they said I should deliver so things, sir. So what do you think? Are you willing to be Mr. Babatunde Adegbidin also? We work together. You reach out to a lot of people. So you don't just limit yourself. So you have to go outside, attend other people's club to learn so that you'll be able to add value. Add value. People will always come back to you when you don't criticize, you don't castigate them. You encourage them. I have mentees that will say, no, I badly perform. I did not enjoy myself. I don't like this. No, I'll tell them, no. You are not a perfect speaker. That's why you are in Toastmasters. You are here to learn. You can do better. So all those things matter. So you need to be very, very cautious when it comes to mentor-mentee relationship. And I'll try to recapitulate. I mentioned from the beginning that the relationship there is communicating. A lot of people don't communicate. 99% of the dispute in the world is caused by lack of communication. Effective communication. John Maxwell said, many communicate, few connect. Only few connect. So as a mentor, you need to be able to communicate with your mentee. So when you communicate, you get feedback. Oh, I won't be able to do this thing. Give them options. Will you be able to go to Lighthouse to go and deliver? Or I think merits it's on so day. Will you be chanced by this time? You need to find a way to guide them. Because no matter what, you are part of their success or success story. I'm mentioning people's name today because I'm a product of what they've turned me into. Oh, what am I today? Because I want to learn from them. So relation there is communicated. To sustain a good relationship as a mentor with mentee, you must imbibe effective communication. You must be able to communicate effectively. And communication is about understanding. You don't just say this thing. The person, both of you must be able to understand. The encoder and the decoder must be able to say, oh, I understood what this person is trying to say. And the ship there is that mentorship has a destination. At the end, you can't mentor them forever. You can just say, okay, let's do this thing for so period. And there's something, before I mention that thing, the ship that I said is about destination, that there should be a set goal for you as a mentor and mentee. And at Toastmasters, there is something very, very valid and fantastic that I have taken from Toastmasters and is helping me even though in my home today, is moment of truth. At Toastmasters, we have what we call moments of truth. As a mentor, you are noticing a mentee is not fast, it's not willing, it's not doing this thing. You can just say, okay, is there anything you feel like ever since that we have been working together that you think I can improve on? Wow. The mentee has a platform to talk back to the mentor like, yes, sometimes I don't like when you speak on phone or anything. And when you listen to such, when it comes to moment of truth, you should not listen to respond. You should listen to understand. You should listen to understand. Like, okay, you note it. And you can now give feedback to your mentee that, okay, you know why most times when you say this, you know the nature of my job, and sometimes when I get home, Lagos traffic or anything, but I think we should just find a way to do what? To work together. So it is very important to have a moment of truth, to have a concrete relationship with the mentee and the mentor. Moment of truth is very, very important. Distinguished Toastmasters, I think at this juncture, I would like to take questions. But before I take this question, don't forget what I said. I said, when a person mentors, two lives are changed. The life of the mentee and the mentor. We work together for a common goal. So please, let me entertain your question. Let me hear from you. Do you have any question for me? All right, TM. Please go ahead. TM Kubi. Is it Kubi?
No, I think we have Toastmaster Steve Minos hand up.
Okay. Toastmaster Steve, please go ahead. Let me listen to your question.
Okay. I want to say a very big thank you, Toastmaster Ibrahim. I hope you can hear me loud and clear. I'm not with
perfectly.
All right, fantastic. Yeah, that was very that was an eye opener and very revealing and an intriguing session. Now, as a mentor, one of the things I've learned is that you must not pose yourself. You must not appear too superhuman. That is, you must not appear infallible. You must not be somebody that want to present yourself as like you have said in that you're not a god. You also have your own weaknesses. But I've realized that at times in mentoring some people, so there are some mentees that are not actually matured. That you try to expose some of your vulnerabilities just to build or to affirm a point to them. And you now hear, you find them sharing some of these, your weaknesses in circles that you don't want to expose it. So how do you do with such a mentee who cannot handle information? Because it's not all information you share that you want to be in the open. There are some personal information about yourself. You just want to use that to build or edify your mentee. But you now find that the mentee takes it out of the context of mentor-mentee and now begins to share with friends, and you find your information all over the place. So how do you handle such a situation? Thank you, Toastmaster Brian. We are proud of you from Ikeja Toastmasters. You are doing a great job. Thumbs up, thumbs up. Well done.
Thank you, Toastmaster Steve. Well, why will you share an information you don't want it to fly? You should not share it from the first place. You don't have to share that information. And because you are a mentor doesn't mean you should just be talking. Give your mentee the platform. They are the one. A mentor, just listen, guide them. You don't have to say, okay, how do you intend going about this thing? How do you want to do this thing? Do ask more of questions and share your experience. It's simple. It's not about you, because you are the mentor, you don't have to say you want to start telling them that this is what they have done. No, you have to know your limit as a mentor too. There is always a limit. Some will want you to come in, they can ask you personal questions or anything. Fine. If you understand that, okay, this is the kind of mentee that, okay, we have something in common, you can go ahead. But you should know what to say, because you see, we've seen people, because they call you a mentor and you feel like, oh, just sit down there and let me be talking. No, if you see a mature mentor, they listen. You as a mentor, that's one of the skills that you must have. You must listen more. Ask them the question so that at the end, they will be the one to commit themselves. When you talk, it looks as if that you are imposing yourself on them. I've seen mentee that will say, sir, I want you to be the one to push me. Let them use their mouth to say it. So there are personal things that you don't have to share. It's your experience. When it comes to mentorship, there are different types of mentorship. We have spiritual mentorship, but when we are talking about mentor here, strictly speech, not family mentorship, not how to run your home. Don't pass your boundary. Limit it to speech. And I'm sure that when you deliver any speech or you are mentoring something within the confines of speech, I think you won't see anything that anyone will go outside to go and talk about your weakness. I think that's just my response to that, so I can entertain other questions. I hope that suffices. Please, any other question, please? Any other question, please? Question. Let me see if we have question in the chat box here. Okay. I think we don't have questions, or do we have questions? No, come on now, let's talk. Don't just make it look as if that, oh, I've said no. Let me also learn from you, from your question, please. Ask question so we can learn. Okay, I think in the absence of no question, we will be, yes, can a mentee disagree with mentor? Definitely, sure, you can, but politely. You don't outrightly, at Toastmasters, that's one of those things that I enjoy. You can disagree and you won't fight the person. You want to give evaluation to someone and you are not pleased with that speech. But the first thing you must say is to commend that speech. So if you want to disagree, is that I appreciate your input, but I think that this should be, I think it's going to be more better if I put it this way, and you have reason. It's not that you just want to say you want to push the idea aside, but I think that, okay, I think I have this idea that we can incorporate this. And sometimes if you don't argue, if he or she is not willing to take that disagreement or anything, just keep quiet. When you want to deliver your speech, deliver it that way, and you get to some point. Okay, I saw a question now. So it's important. You just have to disagree creatively in a Toastmaster way. Let me put it that way. In a Toastmaster way, you can disagree in a Toastmaster way. So I think some people sent me a question. Let me go to the chat box. Okay, thanks for sharing this unique perspective on medicine. Okay, time up. Okay, time up.
Toastmaster Craig has his hands up.
Okay. Toastmaster Craig, it's nice to have you here. Please ask your question, please.
Mr. Ibrahim Fatoyinbo, I would like to thank you most graciously and similarly thank distinguished Toastmaster Kayode Yusuf and Division F as a whole for this magnificently significant, enlightening session. I have two questions to briefly postulate. What informs the decision to assign a mentee to a mentor, and is it diplomatically improper for a mentee to take that decision?
Okay, is that all?
That's all.
All right. Thank you, Toastmaster Craig. Yes, well, Toastmasters is a very flexible organization. And when you are being allotted a mentor, you have the right. At some point, most of my mentee chose me after listening to my presentation. They'll just go and meet the VP Education, that please, can he be my mentor? And they'll say, go and meet him, ask. So when they come, they have seen something in you that they want to learn from. So the mentee can use their own discretion to make such decision to choose a mentor with the acknowledgement of the VP Education. To say, okay, no, you can go ahead. If he agrees and you're comfortable with this person, why not? So I think you can. So, but what informs it most is that it's stated in Toastmasters that you must have been able to deliver some speeches, carry out some leadership positions and all. And it is not mandatory. It's not necessarily that you say you must be a mentor. But when you are taking up the responsibility, you must be cautious of the fact that this is additional burden and ask yourself, am I willing to take it up? So it's a two-way, it's a sword. The mentee can decide, like I mentioned, that most of my mentee listen to my speech and afterward they just accost me and say, sir, would you like to be, I'd like you to be my mentor. Can you just guide me on the speech? And we have some that they are not my mentee, but they just come and say, please, I think my mentor is not available. Can you just stand in for him for this time? If I'm available, why not? Why not? So it's allowed for the mentee to make such decision, and the mentor too can decide to accept or not to accept. So thank you so much for your questions, and I'm sure it has been a very interesting session. I have also learned a lot from your question, and we can only get better. We can only get better, because I'm saying it doesn't make me a perfect person. I'm still learning, and I hope to meet some stubborn mentee too. And it's just very simple. I'll just tell you, I'm not more interested. Like, you can just get on that person. So it's fine. So mentor-mentee relationship is very important. Let's focus on it and let's try. And they say, if you can't see where you are going, it's important you ask someone who has been there before you. If you can't see where you are going, it's important to ask someone who has been there before you. Distinguished Toastmasters, at this juncture, we wrap it up here. I think I will hand it over back to the Toastmaster of the day, which I also double up as the Toastmaster of the day. So thank you once again, Toastmaster Brian. That was a wonderful session. Thank you all for listening, and thank you for organizing. Distinguished Toastmaster Chidi, the division director, Toastmaster Abubakar, all the team members that we have worked together to put this together. Toastmaster Abdullah Jima, our technical person. We appreciate you guys. It has been a very wonderful time working with you. We still have the second session tomorrow, 4 to 6 p.m. And that also promises to be fun and very informative too. You can keep a date with us. You can tomorrow, 4 to 6. It's on the flyer. Our facilitators are ready to come and add value to us. It's very important you're part of this mentorship, so that you'll be able to mentor people and add knowledge and deliver speeches or talk about mentorship in your club level too. That's the intent of this program. For you, those people who have attended this program, you'll be able to go back to the club. You'll be able to share your knowledge, okay, what you have learned and how you can improve better. Because mentorship too is very important to facilitate the progress of every club. The quality of mentor is very important. So you can't decide that. We just have to keep improving ourselves and follow and adhere to the rules of Toastmasters International. Once again, it has been a very pleasure to be here today. And don't forget, if you can't see where you are going, ask someone who has been there. And mentors always save people from tormentors. Mentors save mentee from tormentors. Sometimes the mentee can also be a tormentor. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Tomorrow, 4 to 6 p.m. Let's make it a date. Again, it's going to be a very titillating and very interesting session. Thank you for joining this session. Hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. TM
Thank you.
Ibrahim
Thank you.
Fatima.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tim Ibrahim. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you, TM Ibrahim. Thank you, DTM Kadi. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Abubakar. Thank you, everyone.